There we are.
We have got to figure out a better video situation, my friend.
Oh, we can turn the other way. It's because the lights.
It's because the light's in the wrong place,
I
right?
set it up the wrong direction. Sorry, everybody. There we go. Better?
I'm on the wrong side.
We switched.
It's weird.
What's up with my hair?
Hey, everybody. What's up?
How we doing?
That's a little bit better. Welcome to Talk About It Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
I have a
at
question.
4 o'clock.
It is Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I am here. I have a question for you, Jerry. Do you think, okay, so for those who are getting to know me or those that already know me, probably know that I rushed like to finish what I was doing to get here. We're very punctual.
Yes. So
but we get a lot of stuff done. So my question is, do you think I'm just really excellent at, hold on, I'm turning my phone on silent to respect y'all. Do you think that I'm just really excellent at organizing my time? And I know exactly how much I can get done in a certain amount of time. So like when I run up to the wire and have to like race here at 3:59 and be like, I'm here on time as predicted. Do you think it's because I'm excellent at organizing my time? Or do you think it's because I just find stuff to fill my time until I have to go on to something? Like, I don't know that blowing up 5 balloons was on my list of things to do this afternoon, but I decided to do it spontaneously and it fit into my schedule.
Kinda.
That's not an answer. It was an either or question. So
I think you find stuff to fill in the time because you came to me 10 minutes ago and said, I got 17 minutes worth of stuff to do in the next 10 minutes.
Yes.
Can you help?
Yes. And we got it done.
And we got it all done. But if we hadn't, it wouldn't have got done. And I don't feel like it was stuff that needed to get done before the video.
So I feel like there's different levels.
But that's okay.
Like, for the stuff that I accomplished.
The good news is we got 17 minutes worth of stuff done in 9 minutes.
That's teamwork. Welcome to the Niesman Team. That's why we work so well together. I am Rachel Niesman, Jerry Niesman.
That's me.
I feel like I'm trying to do it on the screen. It's very difficult, but no.
Because it's backwards.
I know, it's wrong. I'm sitting on your right, and I feel like in this video I'm on your left, and it's making me like... So we are Talk About It Tuesday-ing.
Yes.
Is that a verb? We are
It is now.
Talking about it on Tuesday. I don't like that as much. Talk About It Tuesday-ing. What are we talking about in a couple minutes?
So we're talking about how the real estate world has changed over the last 8 or 9 months or so. They say that the crazy things happening causes massive changes.
Yes.
Very quickly. And so over the past 9 months, I think that this COVID situation has massively impacted and sped up the digitalization of the real estate industry and how we function, how buyers and sellers function, how realtors function, how lenders function.
Yeah, it's adjusted.
It's just it's made a big difference.
And I'm sure we're not the only field, right?
I'm sure.
No matter what you do for a living, even we have a lot of friends who are teachers or first responders or all the way from there to people we know who... I mean, I think so. Like, you have to be worried about... Well, yeah. Like, the risk and the gloves.
But the functioning of their job, I feel like, is the same because they had that before. Having trained for to be a first responder,
I guarantee you,
from 20 years ago. Like, I went through the training 20 years ago, and it was all about, like, the number one thing is, like, PPE, gloves, masks.
I was reading a sad story online about how it was a group discussion amongst medical personnel who were really trying to cope with being the only people there. There's an enhanced amount of people who are dying alone. And like what it's like to have to bring that comfort.
Sure.
So
it's
changed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's
there
changed.
Have been changes.
But the actual response, like you can't digitalize responding to a car accident.
Correct. Okay. So.
But anyways.
Yes, you have to physically show up. You can't virtually respond to medical emergencies. But so we're going to come do a little bit of information from your Real Talk Real Estate team. The way that Talk About It Tuesday works is we are on here live talking about it. This will eventually go to our YouTube channel. It's the Niesman Team. If you're looking at us, you should know how our name is spelled because you're on Jerry Niesman's Facebook page. Our YouTube channel has all of our old Talk About It Tuesdays on there. If you are interested, we've done everything this year from ways to get your home ready to sell and make it worth the most amount of money. Interview questions if you're interviewing multiple agents, which we of course suggest you do. All sorts of things for buyers, sellers. We've interviewed one of our favorite mortgage people. And so before we get to how we've adjusted, our year-end reflection on how this has changed and impacted our industry. Let's talk about gingerbread houses. Who's here for gingerbread houses? Oh, and just so you know, I am your voice. I am our viewers' eyes. If you're here with us live on Facebook Live, you can type questions into the discussion, and I'll read it to Jerry, usually. We'll read those out loud and answer questions on the spot. So feel free in our discussion and now to talk to us. And yeah, we want it to be a conversation.
Yep.
So let's talk about gingerbread houses. It's my fault. When did we mention it? Three Talk About It Tuesdays ago.
I don't think it was 3 Talk About It Tuesdays ago, but I think it was 3 weeks ago.
3 Tuesdays ago.
Yes. Because we skipped a couple with with Thanksgiving. Because it was it was the Talk About It Tuesday pre-Thanksgiving.
We said we were talking about, that video was all about happy home for the holidays. It is tips on staying home, safe at home, healthy at home, happy at home over the holiday season, ways that you could enhance this COVID quarantine Christmas. And at that point it was Thanksgiving, to try and have a great season of it. I mentioned how fun it would be for the Niesman team to host a gingerbread decorating contest. And then we didn't talk about it again until a week ago. And I never created the event, but we did create an event. We did post about it. And while we don't have anybody live on Zoom with us now, one of our friends that we know from the auto industry, from the car business, of our friends that we sold cars to
15 years ago.
We still love you. We're so glad we're able to stay connected with people on Facebook. Sent in a picture of their gingerbread house. So that was very nice. Thank you for sending it in. We have I'll show you what we did. Trey, our son Trey, who is 9, and our daughter Mia, who is 10, decorated this one this weekend when we were baking Christmas cookies. I brought out our final,
there you go.
Actually put it in front of the camera.
Yep.
So there's our little gingerbread house. Super cute and colorful this year. It's actually standing up. Thank goodness for Grandpa Tom. He's the one who built the structure. That's always my hardest part. And so
I feel like next year we need to, you gotta bake gingerbread, because I want to build a monster gingerbread
I'm here for
house.
it. I don't even want to build a gingerbread house. Let's build a gingerbread Big Ben. Let's do something that so the Niesmans here love to travel. So let's pick something that we see in the next year of travels, and we'll build that out of gingerbread. I'm here for it. I'll Great British Bake Off that situation. And so I wish I had more gingerbread houses to show you guys. I wish we had some people on live, but maybe next time I'll do a better job and do some proper advertising on it. But thank you for watching for that reason. I hope
so if that's why you were here, you got to see ours.
Yay!
And now for Talk About It Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Now it's time to talk about real estate. Next week, we're going to have it's going to be a fast Talk About It Tuesday. It's the week of Christmas next week. We are going to have a fast Talk About It Tuesday. It's going to be just like a little Christmas well wishings from our family. And then we're going to take a break from Talk About It Tuesday until into the new year, into January. And so.
Are we doing one? The first week of January.
So.
Because when do we get back? Monday.
To be determined. We'll let you know. We'll keep you posted on whether or not I'll have it prepared. Or not, and we just won't have it. And then you'll see us the second week. No.
What? I'm looking at my calendar. No, we get back. Yeah, we get back on Monday.
So it'll probably be the second week of January. We'll be back talking about it. We'll be working. If you want to buy or sell a house with us, we'll be here and available. Call us, text us, message us. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about how real estate has adjusted to a virtual world and kind of a reflection on what 2020 has done for our clients and us as realtors. I'm not a realtor. Let me preface that. I'm an unlicensed assistant. Jerry's
our team.
Yeah, how it's affected our team, our real estate team, and in turn, other realtors, how it's affected our mortgage people and stuff like that. So let's talk about it. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's talk about how we're going to go in order: buyers, sellers, mortgage, and us as realtors. I'll leave for the end. So let's talk about how it's impacted buyers. How has real estate changed for buyers, and how have we adjusted into more like, we have a pretty hands-on industry.
Yes.
Typically people go and it's
a lot of meeting people face to face, looking at houses face to face, spending a lot of time with people in private spaces.
We talk about a lot of really important stuff. It's big purchases that we're discussing. It's intimate situations, talking about why somebody wants to move or why somebody, and we love having those relationships. So we really work towards building those relationships and continuing those relationships, obviously virtually. FaceTime instead of phone calls.
Yeah, so it has
communication has become.
There's still a ton of phone calls, but it's the face-to-face interactions have become face-to-face via tech.
Yes.
So FaceTime, Zoom, Facebook Messenger, video, Skype, all
those things.
Basically, I had somebody ask me today to do a video call with them on WhatsApp.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there's a ton of different ways. Just depends, whatever you're most comfortable with. In terms of the app that we use to communicate, but a lot of video showings, we're doing virtual tours on all of our listings now, and a lot of realtors have switched to that too. So there's virtual tours that you can watch online, but to get from a buyer's perspective, we've been going and doing a lot of these tours virtually. Live with our buyers so that you can see exactly what we see rather than what the listing agent wants you to see.
Right. I feel like that's always a concern when shopping online for houses, is the idea that we've all seen it. We've seen it with people, with homes.
I mean, I went and looked at one the other day with somebody.
Beautiful. You can make any house look beautiful. What did you just show the other day?
I went and showed one on Sunday, via FaceTime, and it looked fantastic in pictures. Highest priced home in the community. Highest priced home in the community within the past year.
Wow.
And I went and so we were expecting it to be gorgeous, and walked in and it wasn't gorgeous.
No.
And I was able to show her that, I mean, it's not like I'm going in trying to beat up a house or anything, but we want our buyers to have a realistic expectation of what they're going to walk into. I mean, I've done this we've probably closed 20 homes this year virtually.
Where they weren't
like,
even here in town
where,
at the closing table.
Where people were never, like, some people still have not seen their homes.
Right.
Because they've chosen not to come down even after they've closed.
Travel.
But the people that have come down and seen their home after closing are absolutely amazed at the fact of how exact they, how it matched exactly what they expected is what they walked into.
I think that's a real nod to the technology available to us. Like, you can be in your car and showing a buyer out of the country or out of the state, and you can have, like, on the tripod in your car, not looking at it, not paying attention, like driving them through a neighborhood.
Right.
Like, I'm going to drive you up to the home. Let's drive to the clubhouse from the home. Here's how many turns it takes. And the technology has really made it so buyers can make educated decisions. Like, I'd almost have an easier time buying a house without seeing it than buying shoes without seeing it, because I feel like I could get an authentic representation of what a house is like, especially because if you have somebody there who's knowledgeable to, like, break it down for you.
Yep.
Like, nobody can tell me if the shoes on Amazon will fit me. Like, it just can't happen. I have to wait, see it, try it on, walk around in it in a little bit. And so, yeah, and also too, let's talk about how it's changed for buyers in terms of reduced inventory, calling for a need for this.
Right.
So reduced inventory, we're sitting in a seller's market, which I guess makes sense. In reflection, if somebody had said to me at the beginning of 2020, hey, if there was an international emergency and a pandemic happened, how do you think it would have shifted the market? It makes sense that sellers would be more hesitant to allow people in their homes, making the people who are curious, like, maybe it would be cool to sell a home right now, to take those people off the market, and the people who are dedicated, I have to move, I want to move, sellers to come up. And so it has created the need for buyers to see and make decisions at an extremely fast rate.
Yes. Yep. So the lower inventory means that there's less homes to choose from. And so when you're making decisions, you're competing with more people or the same number of people over less homes, which means you have to be ready, willing, and able to make that decision quickly. And if you're not here and you're trying to buy a home, you don't have time to fly here,
right,
to go and see the home. So having that technology available allows those buyers to still be competitive.
Well, and it's also the reduced inventory, or the need for speed, if you will, has also changed. Like, buyers have to be pre-approved.
Yes.
Like, you need to talk to a mortgage person.
Well, that's a part of the ready. You got to be ready. You have to. Everything has to be in line.
A lot of sellers aren't even showing homes unless it's like a pre-qualified buyer shopping for it.
Right. Some listing agents are requiring that we send a pre-approval letter to them showing that our buyer is qualified if they're financing, or proof of funds if we say they're a cash buyer. They want to see proof of funds. They want to see a bank statement showing that you have the money in your account to be able to make that purchase.
I think it also, for buyers, has more than ever created a need to find a realtor that when we were discussing this before, you used the phrase that we always use, which is work with somebody that you know, like, and trust.
Right.
I'm going to further back it or pitch it with somebody you know, like, and trust. Find an agent that you know, like, and trust to have your best interest at heart. I mean, so legally, as a licensed realtor has to do, what is it? Due diligence? I don't know what the word is. What is it? You have to work for your client. You have to do what's in your client's best interest.
Yes, we're required to represent our client's best interest. So by law, we
Yes.
have to do that. We
But
have to function honestly and ethically and work for our client's best interest.
correct. So you need to like them enough that you want to work with them virtually because it's kind of clunky. We've all been on Zoom meetings where it's like, no, you go ahead. No, but no, you. So you have to enjoy working with the person. You have to trust them enough that you believe that if they're standing in the room and they smell cat
Right.
mess,
That's
but
the
they'll
biggest.
tell you.
That's the biggest issue with not being able to go in a home.
I'm
is
telling you,
you
it's
can see everything virtually, but you can't smell it.
right. And so no like and trust. And I'm gonna back it with a fourth is it's really vital for you to pick somebody that you know, like, and trust and that has a certain level of experience or access to experience. So I know there's new agents. There's nothing wrong with being a new agent. Everybody starts out somewhere. But you need to know that these realtors on virtual showings really act as like the stopgap between a mess of an experience in a home and not. So like to be able to go in there and say, oh, just so you know, the year of the home is 1989. I know to ask a listing agent if polybutylene plumbing has been done because in this area it was in there and it's gonna come up on appraisal inspection.
Home inspection.
I don't know anything.
Home inspection.
Inspection. So you need to be working with somebody who knows what questions to ask, who knows to ask for help when they don't know what questions to ask.
Yes.
That's it. All right, let's move on to sellers. Woo! It's fun selling your home in the pandemic. It's got to be done sometimes. It's not only got to be done, but if you want to sell your home, we always tell people.
It's a great time to sell.
And we always tell people the best time to sell your house is when you're ready to do it. If you're ready to now and you're ready to pull the trigger, there are certainly ways that we've adjusted to it in a more virtual world. Of course, photographs and videos of the home are more important than ever. Not just, we just talked about it on the buy side of things, not just that you're hiring a professional photographer. You are hiring a professional photographer who knows how to accurately depict the home.
Correct.
Because there's nothing more defeating than getting your house as a seller under contract to a virtual buyer who puts the offer in, you come to terms, you negotiate, they hop on a plane, they fly from out of state, they walk in the door, and oops, your photos didn't truly represent the situation and they back out of the deal and never bring money to escrow. It's very frustrating. So as we are like the Real Talk Real Estate team, this is the year for us because you just have to authentically represent your home because it's not worth the headache of problems arising later from like you can make a house look beautiful. We can all take MySpace photos of ourselves.
Photoshop works wonders.
Oh, bring up the saturation,
but
we all know the tricks, right?
It doesn't fix the house.
Something cool, speaking of photos and videos, something that's become new to us over the last year is the idea of virtual staging, which I think is a really cool concept as we're talking about ways to adjust to new technology and stuff like that. If you're selling a vacant home, or even if you're selling a house that is occupied, say for instance, you're selling a home that is you have your kids' room in there. Like a virtual stager can come in and replace their race car bed with like a mission style, like neutral bedding over on top of it. And it just goes in the listing description, like virtual staging has been added. Um, People can't change colors of walls, colors of the home, can't change fixtures, appliances, stuff like that.
Right, because that goes against like honest representation of the home.
But
changing the furniture to something neutral that helps people better picture
their
own things versus being turned off by
by the race car bed that you have in your room.
when their child wants a princess bed.
Right. Or they say, we're done
Or-
having kids. This is a family home. We need to move on to the next one.
Correct.
So virtual staging is kind of a cool new option. You can hire a virtual stager to go into, it's especially great in vacant homes, to go in and drop in, like, here's a king size bed. Look at how spacious this room is.
Right. So you can see how furniture will fit because they do it to scale.
Yes. Yes.
So it's and it's been around for a few years, but it's
We've
gotten
seen it more
more
this year.
popular this year because of people not physically going into homes as much.
Let's talk about keeping our sellers' home hygienic. So this is, of course, everybody's concern. Can I just like pause for a moment? I can't believe we're talking about this like 9 months in, I feel like we talked about this in April about how we were planning on, and yes, we continue to do it.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay.
How do we do that? Well, providing hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, gloves, booties.
Yep.
Depending on the home and what the seller is or is not comfortable with.
Yep.
Um,
we were showing, I think, condos up in Punta Gorda recently, and a couple of the listings, you basically had to schedule a virtual tour with the listing agent.
Yes.
Like you would sit in a car outside of the house with your buyer, and you can call the listing agent who's outside of the home with his gloves and his mask on, his or her glove and mask on, and then walk you like a video through there with you. And you could be with your buyer talking in like a separate location, and the listing agent can be walking through his client's home, and you could be like, turn left, turn right, lift this up, open the refrigerator. So that's an option if you're really hesitant or if you're immunocompromised or concerned about it. But yeah, that virtual open houses where you can invite people to do like Zoom, FaceTime, that kind of stuff, and do everything online. What else? Honestly, though, as much as we were, so I think things were a lot different 6 or 8 months ago when we first started talking about what's the best way to protect sellers in their homes. I feel like it has almost become a moot point because I kid you not, we put houses on the market and they're gone in the first 24 hours. I'm telling you.
Many times, yes. So you only have 3 or 4 people through the home.
And they make offers. Sometimes it goes to highest and best, and
sometimes you're getting multiple offers from people that haven't even seen it. They've just seen it. They've seen pictures. They're not coming through it. They don't. They look at the pictures and they send an offer. Yeah. We talked to somebody over the weekend who said they put a house on the market, and literally within 4 minutes of it hitting the market, they had an offer. How do you? Now, the offer was very poorly written because
they like slash it together.
It takes more than 4 minutes to write an offer.
Jeez.
But
I guess when they know, they know. But yes, I feel like it's become less of an issue because we don't have 90-day homes being traipsed through constantly.
Right.
Constantly cleaning.
Yeah, I mean, now that people know, because when all this first happened, a lot of people thought that that prices were going to drop.
Yes.
And that there was going to be an excess of inventory. And so we had investors, we had buyers making crazy lowball offers all of a sudden, thinking that like, oh, what happened 30 days, prices 30 days ago don't matter anymore because now there's a pandemic and nobody's going to buy houses.
Right.
And so prices are going to go down. So you need to take my ridiculously low cash offer. Meanwhile, there were 7 other offers that came in right behind them.
Yep. Can we talk for a minute too? I know that this is a question that a lot of people have, which is the concept of the sky is falling again in real estate. Can you tell me what the difference is in the market crash of back in the day? When was it? 06, 07, 08? No, yep. 07, 08. Like sometime in there. why isn't it similar to what's happening now? What's the difference? Because its prices rise and rise and rise. My concern is like, oh, now all of a sudden you own a true $200,000 house for $400,000. And then nobody can sell their homes again when things flatten out. So what's different this time?
Well, I mean, that all stemmed from mortgages.
So let's move on to mortgage a little bit. So it's the previous crash had to do with mortgage. What is the mortgage company doing different in 2020 dumpster fire versus 2006 pre-dumpster fire?
So you could basically get a loan as long as you were breathing back in 2006.
Yes.
Um,
And they were giving loans to anybody and
didn't-
everybody
you
without.
didn't have to prove that you had a job. You didn't have to prove that you made enough money to make the mortgage payment. You didn't really have to prove anything other than that you could put a pen to paper and sign off that you wanted to buy the house.
Correct.
That's
not a good idea. That's not a good idea.
It was extremely easy to buy a home, even if you had bad credit and had never paid anybody on time in your life. Even if you didn't have a job, because they were doing no documentation loans. So what they called no doc loans, where they would give you a loan and they required no proof of anything.
I remember when
that's probably a little bit of an exaggeration. It really wasn't quite that crazy, but it was close.
I mean, I remember we bought our first house, I think in 2007.
Second house. Well, second house.
Yes.
Our first house together.
Our first house together in 2007, and they required no paperwork from us. And we were 100% commission-based employees. We were still W-2, but like our income fluctuated. We could work for 30 days, produce no income, and make $0 that month. And they required zero documentation, zero
no
proof
bank
of
statements,
income,
no tax returns,
nothing,
no pay stubs, nothing.
So then cycle back to a year and a half ago, pre-pandemic. We live in a different state, different home, but again, this time we're self-employed. They required pretty in-depth documentation to your tax returns, bank statements. Like we need to verify all of these things. Now we are refinancing right now with the same mortgage company that gave us a loan 18 months ago for a lower interest rate. And the amount of stuff that they're requiring right now is crazy to me. It's absolutely insane. I don't understand why they need so much documentation to lower my monthly payment. Like they're comfortable with me at a higher payment. They've already given me the loan for more money. Now I have to prove that I'm still likely to pay them at a lower. We're not pulling any cash, nothing. The only thing that's doing is our APRs or our interest rates adjusting,
and our payments going down.
And our payments going down.
So we're good at this payment, but at this payment we need a lot more documentation.
A lot more documentation
that we
than
can afford
18 months ago. Nothing's changed in terms of our business. We're still 1099, still run the same company that we were running 18 months ago. But it has gotten so much tighter. I'm talking letters from accountants, really, really in-depth investigation. And I think they're probably it's probably because they don't want it to happen, right?
Yes.
So what have you heard from the mortgage people? Read off my anecdotal evidence.
Since COVID has happened, I mean, even pre-COVID, it was much tougher to get a mortgage than it was in 2006.
Yes.
So you have to prove documentation. I mean, they are doing bank statement loans. They were doing bank statement loans a year and a half ago. A lot of those loan programs have gone away again. Mm-hmm. But there are still a few companies doing them, which means that they don't require your conventional proof of income, such as like pay stubs and tax returns and stuff like that. They're using deposits in your bank statements to show income, but in like what they did back in 2006 for bank statement loans, if they were requiring bank statements even, was they would just accept whatever deposits you had. They didn't care if you had the same amount of deductions coming out. So you could have $20,000 a month worth of deposits in your bank account. They didn't take into consideration the fact that you had $22,000 worth of debits going out of your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're looking at, if you've got $20,000 worth of credits, they want to see also what are the debits.
Sure.
So they're not going to say, oh, well, you got 20 grand a month worth of income. They're going to say, well, you had 20,000 go in, but you had 15,000 come out, so your income's really only 5.
Right.
So they're actually looking at these things. They're
Which
calculating
is
those
good.
things, right?
I mean, it's good.
It makes it harder to qualify for certain people, but it makes it. But the fact that they're doing their due diligence, that they're verifying these things, that they're making sure where the deposits came from, they're checking all of this detail, is because they're trying to ensure that we don't have another crash because mortgage companies got crazy and just gave everybody loans.
Also, talk a little bit about how appraisals are kind of. Is this a sore subject for you? Any realtor out there watching right now, is appraisals a sore subject for you right now? I feel like appraisers and appraisals are kind of,
I think
lassoing in
they're
market.
attempting. I don't know this for sure. I'm not an appraiser. I only talk to the appraisers that do the appraisals on the homes that we're involved in the transactions. But appraisals are very frustrating right now.
Yes.
Because the market is moving very quickly in pricing.
Because of a weird condition.
Because of a lack of inventory and an abundance of buyers.
Yes.
And so when an appraiser is looking at a home and trying to put a value on that home, they're looking, and their justification for that value has to be, and
the history of the neighborhood,
rightfully
right?
so, the history and what we call recent relevant sales, or comps, which are comparable sales.
Right.
And making adjustments to those comparable recent sales to make them as close to the subject property as possible.
Right.
And the problem is, if they're looking at sales from 60, 90, so historically, typically appraisers can go back, they try to keep it within the last 90 days, 6 months. They can, as long as there's reason for it, they can go back up to a year, and sometimes even longer if they really have to.
Right. If there's.
But in the current market, prices are changing so rapidly that a home that sold 90 days ago is not necessarily relevant anymore.
Right. But I'm just
But
saying,
it's difficult because there's not always something more recent to
that's
use.
comparable. Right.
So it's a very tough position.
But nobody.
But the
no
problem,
buyer is buying a $200,000 house for $400,000. Is my point.
Correct.
In terms of the market crashing,
unless
and
they're
being
paying
stuck,
cash and they're crazy. But
I have a house for that person.
Because you don't you don't have to, obviously, if you're paying cash, you don't have an appraisal involved. But most people are intelligent enough, do their homework enough, and if they're using a realtor, they have a realtor to represent them who would be telling them, hey, look, you're more than welcome if you want to pay $400,000 for this $200,000 home, but it's a $200,000 home.
Right.
It's our job as realtors, like we said, we're legally responsible to look out for our client's best interest.
And sometimes that's real talk, and sometimes that's hard. Listen, it's hard for sellers to hear. You may get an offer for $500,000 on your $450,000 listing, but we need to have a pre-conversation about accepting that, and what happens if
it doesn't appraise.
If it's not a cash offer and it doesn't appraise. Like it just, you need to factor that into part of the understanding of what's happening in this current world of real estate,
right.
How it's adjusted over the line, since this pandemic. Do you feel like it's leveling out at all?
So I don't know if appraisers, back to that question real quick. I don't know if appraisers are purposely trying to rein in the price increases, or
if they're just don't have any they can't justify
if they
to
really
themselves.
can't. I think it depends on the property, but sometimes it feels that way.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like they're trying to
like make a statement,
artificially stop
the growth of the market,
the price increases, which is not really
their job to do.
Yeah, and you can't do that because it takes the financing buyers completely out of the market.
Sure.
You know,
we know some realtors who are also
Yes, we do.
We do, don't we? We
should, realtors that are also appraisers.
We should talk to them. I would be curious to.
I want to call and ask if they've heard anything.
Yeah. So, but also on the good side, from the mortgage point of view, adjustments to the virtual world, tighter restrictions means lower interest rates. Like they're able to like.
So yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with people who have to meet all these stringent qualifications, then they can keep rates low and not have to worry about people being as likely to default.
Yep.
So
let's talk about how you told me in our discussion about this, you said, oh, in the mortgage end, everything's done online. And I said, no, you have to go into title to close. And you said, well, let me set you straight, lady. So how does it work?
Short of closing. And even closing can be done remotely, but
it's still in person.
It
you
is
still
in
have
person.
To see a human, right? Is it a notary?
Well, so you don't even technically have to physically be in physical face-to-face with another person, because they have virtual closings now.
How?
Where you can do a Zoom call with a notary, and they can notarize your closing documents virtually.
But how do you get a wet signature on a page that's notarized? I feel
not
like a wet signature.
Not all mortgage companies require wet signatures anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And if they do, you can have the paperwork in front of you and sign it virtually. Like everybody on Facebook Live right now could be watching us sign documents if we wanted to. Like we could physically sit there, we could adjust the camera so they could see our paperwork, and we could physically sign it, and they could verify that. So you can do virtual closings. There are companies out there that do it.
We're not doing it a lot. I don't think we've done any.
No, I think we've only had one.
We've done traditional title. Of course, we live in Florida, where everything on earth is open. You go anywhere you want and any way you want to do anything you want.
Well, we've had a lot, like the people that have closed out of state. A mobile notary goes to them, so you only have one person coming to you instead of you going to an office where there's multiple people working.
That's a nice option. Can you do that even if you're local? Can you opt?
Yeah.
To have them come to you or send a mobile notary to somebody local?
We've had some of our clients close remotely like that. Okay, cool. Do mobile notaries. Yeah.
So last but not least is, how has real estate changed for realtors, for our job? And if there are any realtors watching, feel free to chime in.
Facilitating all of the above?
Yeah, pretty much. We've taken on more liability because all of the above.
Yeah, it's a higher liability because we are now the physical presence for a number of our clients.
Sure.
Where they're not there. So like we said, we are their nose.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of funny, but they can't.
I feel like everybody out there understands what it's like
you can't smell
to walk into a house and know whether it smells good or not.
Sure.
Right. Like, this is appealing to me versus, ooh, I don't know about this.
Correct. You also have to kind of be their ears too, because
like neighbors and road noise. And
yeah, I mean, I went and looked at one week or two ago for a client that the house backed up to a main road, and they missed it when they were looking online, and it wasn't necessarily a huge deal to them. And the road noise wasn't terrible. I mean, I walked out on the lanai and I could hear it a little bit, but there was a big wall at the back of the property, so the house backed up to the wall. And so they asked, "What's on the other side of the wall?" And I said, oh, it's this road. And they said, oh, okay, well, is that a busy road? And I said, well, yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not a highway busy. It's not I-75 busy, but it is a
Sure.
main road. And they said, well, we don't hear anything because they couldn't hear it on
Sure.
FaceTime. But I could hear a little bit of road noise, so I explained that to them. And it was a 2-story house. And I went upstairs to the bedroom, which now is above the level of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened the windows.
You want to say hi real quick? We're on video live.
Oh, here comes the boy
Here
and
comes
the boy.
Circus.
So so the bedroom windows are above the height of the wall, so now you get more road noise. So I opened the windows, and then they could hear it a little bit, but I had to be their ears and help describe to them the level of, the volume of the road noise. And that wasn't the determining factor of why they didn't buy that house, but
it was important to know.
It definitely, I would hate for them to have bought that house and then got there and said, "Oh my God, what is this noise?" If it was bad to them,
right?
So, that and that could be a big issue,
right?
In terms of they close on the house and now they're upset because they feel I misrepresented if I didn't let them know that. So, you have to be very cognizant as a realtor to let people know because they might not be able to hear as well as you're going to be able to hear when you're talking, through these virtual showings.
I think that's about it. I think that's about all we have. I mean, our job has mostly stayed the same. Everything that we talked about above, we've had to adjust. It's a very expensive year because we have new apps.
New technology we got to pay for.
Got to pay for Zoom, got to pay, and that's minimal, but we don't get to do as much face-to-face meeting of people, so advertising expenses are up. What else? Oh my God. Well, our photos to take a listing, to do a listing,
twice as
photograph
expensive?
No, I think it's 3 or 4 times as expensive. I think we were paying $150 now. We usually pay about $600 for photos and videos. Because we're the Real Talk team. We don't care.
Yeah, the cost has gone up significantly
4 times
for
on photos and videos
listings,
for homes.
And then
additional materials and supplies to
and the cost, buying gloves and masks and providing them and sanitizer and all that good stuff. And you lose some of that face-to-face interaction too.
Right.
Just that the physical presence of being in a space with somebody, you lose some of that connection, I think.
Right. We're better live. I feel like the Niesmans are better live.
No, I mean,
that's why I like coming on Facebook Live instead of just like a sad representation
posting pictures.
Right. We're better live. But yeah, I can't wait until things normalize a little bit.
Oh, look at this big doggy
hug.
I'm
so jealous.
Little doggy hug. Little doggy big hug.
He's obsessed. He is obsessed with him.
Okay.
So.
Hi. Okay. Get down.
So we're off to Talk About It Tuesday.
We're done.
Head to Taco Tuesday, and so I gotta get in the kitchen and cook. We're gonna celebrate my mom's birthday, and what else? Call us, email us, message us. Jerry Niesman, JerryNiesman @gmail.com. Our website is realpeople-realestate.com. Again, our YouTube channel is the Niesman Team. And what else?
Realpeople-realestate.com is the website. Did you say that?
I didn't say your phone number.
239-201-9583.
Bessie, say bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. I hope you're having a great start to your holiday season. We're really looking forward to spending time with our kids and our dog and each other. And like we said, next week we'll be back with a little holiday Talk About It Tuesday, real short, real brief. And then we will see you in the new year. And so thank you guys so much. Call us, message us, email us.
Let us know how we can help. We're still here working.
We're still here working. Niesman Team works 365. So if it's Christmas and you want to get in to see something, let me know. And we will get it handled for you. And so let us know how we can help. Bye, everybody.
See y'all later. Thanks for watching.
Still can't get there.
No, you got to click the second button.